Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. Right, listen, guys, we don't even have 20. We have 48 hours left. Yes, we do. And then everything changes in the United Kingdom. What am I talking about? Well, unless you guys have been living in a cave, I'm talking about Wednesday. I think it's, Wednesday the 26th. Wednesday the 26th in the United Kingdom. It is crunch time. It's game time for everybody who lives in the United Kingdom. So, we literally right now, as I'm speaking, we have 48 hours, depending on what time this actually gets released. I'm obviously talking about the new budget in the United Kingdom. Guys, look, I'm going to go through some predictions with you, and it is getting wilder the closer that we get to this budget point. But let's just take into consideration things are going to become more expensive after Wednesday. Now, I'm talking, and look, guys, this video really is speculation because until that budget is actually released, we don't know. We don't know, but this is just speculation, okay? So what I would say is alcohol, tobacco, fuel. By fuel, I mean at the petrol station. So I'm talking about gas, diesel, not gas, that's American. I'm talking about petrol, diesel, and when these things go up, everything goes up because those people who are using vehicles to transport stuff, guess what? Their costs go up, so your costs go up. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about that. I've got a few other things that I'm going to be hitting the live stream with as well. I think I'm going to do a standalone video because there has been talk about nuclear war and it's come out in the mainstream again and people are throwing headlines about like nuclear Armageddon. So I think I'm going to do a standalone video on that. So this may be a short one. I'll go away. I'll have a little sandwich, maybe bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich, or I don't know, a club sandwich or something. I'll come back and then we'll do nuclear Armageddon because the topics are very different. But ladies and gentlemen, we have 48 hours and then everything is going to change in the United Kingdom. You can take that with a high degree of certainty. So what is coming in this budget? Well, some wild stuff's coming. I'm just reading this, and this was updated 7 minutes ago from the. In fact, hang on, guys. Sorry, let me turn the chat on. Sorry, I do apologize. Good morning, everyone on the chat. Sorry, I've turned the chat on now. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone on the chat. Right. Okay. Budget 2025 latest. Rachel Reeves set to hit thousands of properties with new tax. So, if you live in a property, I don't know if you live in a property. Well, you could be in for a new tax. What's this all about? The Chancellor is set to lay out her new budget targeting the wealthy. Right. This is how it starts, guys. Okay. This is how it starts. You know how these laws get passed and they say, oh yeah, that's a good idea, tax those wealthy. I'll tell you, let me read the article and then I'll give you what I think is going to happen. I think I know what it's going to say anyway. So the Chancellor is going to, hit the wealthy with new taxes as she hopes to balance the books with a series of measures to be announced on Wednesday. So like I said, guys, we've got 48 hours left. A new levy could be applied to some of the most valuable homes, known as a mansion tax. The move would reportedly revalue some of the most valuable properties across the council tax bands F, G, and H. I think we're in G. I think, do you know what? It doesn't matter. I think we're in council tax G. I think we're in band G. So council tax could hit over 100,000 houses with this surcharge. Now, look, guys, let me just be clear. This is my speculation now. This is how it will start. They will start by saying, oh, we're only going to hit houses over 5 million. And then the next time the budget, we're only going to hit houses over 4 million. By the next thing you know, this time next year, literally every house is getting a new tax. And do you know why? Because guess what? If you live in a house that's worth 5 million, you probably have the means to leave. You probably have the means to leave. You can probably just say, do you know what? I'm good, actually. I'm going to go. And then, do you know what? That house, I would speculate that house will be turned into a beautiful HMO, a house of multiple occupancy. And we could put some beautiful, who would you put in a house of multiple occupancy? Right, let's jump down, guys. Okay, so we've got breaking updates about this. Ministers to address business leaders ahead of budget. Business Secretary Peter Kyle. Isn't he a comedian? I'm sure it's not the same guy. Business Secretary Peter Kyle is set to speak at the Confederation of British Industry. That sounds very American, the Confederation of British Industry. This morning, ahead of the government's crunch budget on Wednesday, Mr. Kyle will lay out a plan. I can imagine doing like a comedy sketch. Righto, lads, we're going to go up it. Yeah, anyway, sorry. And he's talking about cutting energy bills for companies. Not going to happen. But the speech comes almost exactly a year after Rachel Reeves addressed the CBI, where she told them her 2024 budget was extraordinary and she was not coming back with more borrowing or more taxes. So what do you think, guys? Do you think we've got trust? Do you guys trust the government? Do you trust Rachel Reeves? I know I certainly do not. So last year, she told everybody... Last year, Rachel Reeves told everybody that I'm not coming back with more borrowing or more taxes. This is a once in a generational. No, she didn't say that. I'm assuming this is what she said. This is a once in a generational budget. We're not going to do more borrowing. We're not going to do more taxes. And proceeds to borrow and tax every time she can. However, it now seems that the Chancellor will not be keeping to her word on this as she prepares to unveil a series of measures to balance the books. Do you know what? I can think of a few methods how we could balance the books really quickly. Like really quickly, we could balance the books. The OBR is to downgrade growth forecasts for every year of this parliament. Guys, we are getting poorer. There's no denying it now. If you live in the United Kingdom, like the United Kingdom is getting poorer. There's no caveat on that, guys. You know, that statement is true. We are getting poorer in the United Kingdom. Now, I do a lot of international, not really that much financial transactions, but I do a lot of international business. And when you're deciding where to get paid, so this is a massive detrimental effect that it has on the country. So, like, I tell the guys, I say, look, guys, I don't want any money in pounds because it's fucking worthless. It is, and it's worthless. The pound's worthless. So I will go with a currency. Say that I'm doing a job in, I don't know. Say my client is American, and they want some work doing, I don't know, in Luxembourg. You know, I will say to them, right, do not pay me in pounds because I'll have to buy things in Luxembourg and I will lose a shit ton of money because the pound is worthless, you know, and this is what, you know, and this is happening all over the country right now. So by doing that, I'm not bringing money into the country. I'm not. The money I'm dealing with doesn't come into the country. It goes from America to, I don't know, a partner's account somewhere else in a different country. So that money that could be taxed won't be taxed anymore because it's worthless. The pound is becoming more and more worthless. You know, why would I, as a business owner, why would I get paid in pounds when my pound can buy one product for the same amount, or I can get paid in US dollars and that can buy two products? It makes no sense for me, guys. It makes no business sense for me to deal with pounds at the moment. The pound is absolutely falling off the edge of a cliff. And like I always tell people, the only way that you get rich as a country is you take somebody else's money. And we're not doing that very well, guys. In fact, if anything, we're giving our money away and we're stopping people from bringing their money here. So you're getting like this double jeopardy. It's absolutely insane. Right, let me jump down. What is a mansion tax? Right, okay, here we are. So the rumors around, remember, guys, okay, this live stream, this is all speculation. Nobody really knows I don't think the government have even set their final plan yet. Nobody knows what's in the budget at the moment. Nobody knows what's in the budget at the moment because it's not being released, and I don't think the government actually know. The rumours around mansion taxes are one of many that have hit the headlines ahead of the Chancellor's speech on Wednesday. Remember, this will start as a mansion tax. It will then go to a house of high value tax. It will then go to a house. It will then go to, fuck it, we might as well tax everybody on their homes. remember, it's all part of this plan. It's all part of this plan to push more dependency on the government, push more dependency on the state. Because, you know, I know people now who are thinking, why am I bothering with a house? Why am I paying a mortgage? Why am I paying all this tax? I might as well just get, you know, become unemployed and get a house off the government and, you know, and let the government, let everybody else pay. Because, like, it's pointless. And that's the direction of travel that they're pushing everyone. So apparently she scaled back her plans for a property tax, but is now expected to apply tax on homes worth more than 2 million. Right. Okay. So that doesn't affect us. But what I would speculate a lot of people will be doing is they will be splitting their house up into smaller pieces. So, for example, you may have a house worth 2 million. So what you do now is you say, right, the house is worth 1 million and the garden's worth 1 million, and they're two separate entities. People are not going to pay this, guys. The only people that will pay this are poor people. Eventually, this is going to what, right? Okay. What I'm going to speculate is this budget, Rachel Reeves will get less money the next time, and then she'll be like, why aren't I getting enough money? I need to raise taxes. And the more she raises taxes, the less people pay taxes. That's the way it goes, guys. That's the way it goes. And ultimately, this will trickle down to the bottom level, to the people who cannot escape it. Ultimately, it'll be inflation. It'll be people who are struggling. They are going to be the ones who are going to pay, ladies and gentlemen. So where are we? So the tax will only affect, as we speak, houses that are worth more than 2 million. Now, that might sound a lot of money to some people, but believe me, guys, there are a lot of houses in the UK worth 2 million. And it's not beyond the realms of, like, you know, swing diddling that, you know, people's houses would be worth 2 million. Anyway, in a move which could raise between 400 and 450 million for the Treasury, I'm speculating it won't raise anything. And I'm speculating that after this budget, so, you know, if you look at your budget and your tax and how much money you're getting in through taxes, if you look at this, you know what, actually, guys, some mainstream media are reporting that the amount of money through taxes that the government are getting now has actually dropped massively. It's dropped massively. So they've put taxes up and they've got less money. They put taxes up again. They get less money. So they keep putting, and when they put taxes up more and more and more, the bar comes down. So can you remember not Rachel Reeves, Angela Rayner, we're only going to tax them corporations and we're not going to tax working people. We're only going to tax them rich good millionaires, we are. And when I come back in Parliament, I'm just going to tax everyone. It doesn't help. It doesn't help anything, guys, okay? It helps nothing. All tax should be abolished. Tax is theft. So some 2.4 million properties, and they're only raising 400 million. That doesn't make any sense. 2.4 million properties. Oh, no, actually, that makes ridiculous. No, that's totally the opposite way. So 2.4 million properties, and they're hoping to raise between 400 and 450 million properties. That does not sound right, does it? That doesn't sound right. That sounds ridiculous. So they're going to have to pay more than $1 million. Right, I can't understand that. I don't even understand. So, right, if you've got 2.4 million properties and you want to raise 400 million, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, some 2.4 million properties in the top 3 council brands, so we are not in that, no, will be valued to determine which will be subject to the surcharge, which will be worth an average £4,500 according to the Times. And I get it, guys, right? I get it, you know, people say, oh, but those people in mansions, if it's worth 2 million or 5 million, they can afford 4,500. Yes, they can. But can you? When this tax gets disseminated down and we're looking like a French system where, you know, nobody really owns their house. They just like own a house and then they have to pay rent on the property. People will be able to defer the cost until they die. Jesus Christ, they're coming for your houses. They are coming for our fucking houses, guys. They are coming for our houses. You will own nothing and you will be happy. People will be able to defer the cost until they die or move house to avoid them having to sell up. What the actual fuck, ladies and gentlemen? What the fuck, diddly swuck, get me out this shit show. They're coming after your houses. They are coming after our houses, guys. So, yeah, they're coming after your houses. Absolutely. The government wants those houses. Ooh, you guys have got some real good property. Oh, I want me those houses, motherfucker. That is disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. So you work all your life, all right? You work all your life. Jesus Christ. You work all your life. Why the fuck would I buy a big house in the UK now? Why would you buy a big house in the UK right now? Why would you do that? You know, you work all your life, you pay taxes, you build the economy, you employ people, they pay taxes, and then when you die, oh, that's your fault, right? Come on, let's have all your stuff. People, guys, why would anybody be coming to the United Kingdom right now? I have no idea. This is disgusting. I love houses, guys. I do. I love houses. I love castles. I love huge properties. I love big sweeping gardens. I love moated castles. But this is absolutely disgusting. People will be able to defer the cost until they die or move house to avoid forcing them to sell up. So people are going to defer the cost, right? This is going to build up for £4,500 a year, £4,500 a year, £4,500 a year. And then when that person dies, 10 years, that's 45 grand. 20 years, that's like 90. It's a lot of money, guys. This is building up. Earlier reports had suggested that the mansion tax would apply to homes worth 1.5 million. Jesus Christ, that is not an expensive house at all, guys. That is not an expensive house at all. And would have pulled tens of thousands more of the households in. But the Times reports that the threshold has been raised amidst concerns it could affect those who are cash asset rich and cash poor, particularly in London. Oh, those people in London. Unfucking believable, guys. Unbelievable. Rachel Reeves to hit. Yeah, we've done that. But ministers insist life will get better off the back of Labour growth. Doesn't feel like it to me, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't feel like life is getting better. Oh, what a fantastic picture. No, I can't. Right, let me get on to the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get on to the chat, and then we'll get on to the other things we've got to go. But look, we have got that budget coming. Nothing good's coming. Can you imagine, right? Where is the incentive, ladies and gentlemen? Like right now, because, right now, if you're in that situation, right? You're in that situation where you've got a potential business idea, you've got a client, you've got a customer, you've got a product. You're putting them all together right now. In fact, let me move that camera. You're putting that all together. You're putting that all together, right? Why are you going to get paid in pounds? Why are you going to live in the United Kingdom? Yeah, Sean, your product, mate, that you're producing, yeah, can I buy it? Yeah. How much is it? £1,000 a unit. Okay, right. Andy, how much are you producing those units for? 200 quid. Right, I'm making 800 quid a unit there. Why would I bother getting paid in pounds and buying a house and buying infrastructure in the United Kingdom? Why would I do that? Literally, why would I do that? I wouldn't. It makes no sense. I would say, right, okay, how do we move this out of the United Kingdom? And that's what I would be thinking now if I was in that situation, and I may or may not be. Right, let me get some chat. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everybody on the chat. Good morning. Sean Devlin is saying good morning, everyone. And good morning to you, Sean. So is Jodie Lee. Right, let me jump down. Lisa Clacton is saying good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Lisa Clacton. Debbie Doobs is dreading the budget. Look, guys, I'm in that situation. A lot of the stuff I do, a lot of the paid stuff I do is international. So when people say, how do you want to get paid? Like, not a chance will I say, give it me in pounds. It makes no sense, like 0 cents for me to get paid in pounds, And I know a lot of people, my hair is looking fantastic, isn't it? I know a lot of people who are in that same situation. I know a lot of people who are, they work internationally and they don't want pounds. Nobody wants pounds right now. And the problem with that is when you get paid in dollars or euros or whatever, or doesn't matter, when you get paid and that money then comes into your country, what you've done, you've taken money from another country and you brought it into this country. And that's what needs to happen. That is 100% what needs to happen. If you guys want to get richer, you guys need to let me work. That's the reality, because I bring money into this country. I brought shitloads of money. Like, I don't even know how much money I brought into this country. I brought a lot of money from international sales and international business. I brought a lot of money. Jesus Christ, I have as well. I've brought a lot of money into the United Kingdom. So now I'm not doing that. I've just stopped. I'm like, right, it's fucking no sense. It makes no sense for me to do this. So now I am making the country poorer. I am. I could be bringing that money in. But then if I did that, I'd be making myself poorer. And ultimately, I've got to think about myself. Thank you, Kaz. Thank you, Kaz, thank you, Kaz, for the roses on TikTok. Listen, yeah, guys, we are triple streaming this morning. I've just realized I've just ranted for 21 minutes. Look, guys, these taxes that are coming, they're insane. Everything's going to go up. Remember, we've got 48 hours left or thereabouts. I don't know what time it's going to be. I don't know what time it's going to be released on Wednesday, but we've got 48 hours, and then the budget is going to be budgeted, and we are all going to be looking at like most people. I don't even know how many invoices I've got. But most people work payday to payday, right? They budget payday to payday. So you get you get your payday on like I would say most people in the United Kingdom get paid on the last working day of the month. I know not everybody does, and there will be millions of people who don't. But most people, that's how the invoices work. So you will get your money at the end of, last working day of the month, you will get your salary or whatever from your employer. Now, they will pay you with money they got at the beginning of the month, because that's when the invoices come in. So when all the invoices come in, etc., obviously every company's slightly different. And then normally your direct debits will go out on the first of the month. That's just how it works. 95%, I would say the vast majority of people in the United Kingdom live like that. Now, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. We have one payday left before the big fat man comes and empties his sack all over the living room floor and under the trees and festoons your houses, with fantastic presents. But I know there's a lot of mums and dads out there who subsidize Father Christmas because he's got a very high workload. His elves, guys, they do a fantastic job, his elves. And I'm just like really conscious that this budget, and when all the prices just go ching, 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 because they will, guys. That's what's coming. Remember my three things, okay? Not food. Well, I guess food will go up. Fuel at the pump, petrol and diesel, cigarettes, so tobacco products, and the carbonated drinks and the stuff that we all like in bottles are about this big. And I can't say it because I'm on TikTok and I will get restricted. And to that end, ladies and gentlemen, we are triple streaming. Can you guys do me a real big favor? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all those things that help this channel out. If you guys are watching on TikTok, I promise you, I will figure it out so I can get all the people on TikTok to comment, because I don't know how to do it at the moment. The only way you guys can comment on TikTok is if you're a double subscriber, or I don't know what, I think it's like a double subscriber or whatever it is. The TikTok changed that algorithm. I had no hand in that, guys. I had absolutely no hand in that. They've changed all the settings and stuff, so I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. But I will be closing you guys off on TikTok before YouTube, and then I will be continuing this live stream on YouTube. Right. Zoe Dean is saying Keir Starmer is full-on delusional. Saw an article this morning stating that he aims to remain PM until 2034. The only way that's happening if we go to war, so there's no elections. Do you know what? I think you are 100% right, Zoe Dean. I do. I think Zoe Dean, I don't see any other way around it. If there is an election, I can't see how Keir Starmer holds on. I really can't. I can't see how he holds on. there may be a case, and this, look, guys, I'm trying to be as objective as I can be, and I always try to be as objective. There may be a case when Keir Starmer comes up and he says, right, all the migrants, you guys are now infantry, you guys are now cannon fodder, you guys are now being conscripted. So that may be the case. I don't know if that's the case. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. I have an 8-ball. Do you know what? Let's ask the 8-ball. Right. Will Keir Starmer and Kaz on TikTok is saying, I've had no problems with commenting. Oh, right. Well, I don't know then. I don't know what's going on with the chat on TikTok. So, will Keir, I'm asking the 8-ball, guys, the magic 8-ball, and I'm not going to lie, it's not that accurate. So I'm asking the magic 8-ball, will Keir Starmer conscript the migrants that are in the United Kingdom to go and fight in Ukraine? Jesus, just yes, straight away. I don't know. Can you see that? Can you see it? Can you see that, guys? The 8-ball has spoken. The magic 8-ball has spoken. Straight yes, guys. Keir Starmer, according to the 8-ball, Keir Starmer is going to recruit the migrants into a conscripted army. Although I will tell you guys, it's not a magic ball. It's not a magic ball. It's an 8-ball, and it's not that accurate. But it did say yes, and it was very clear. It was very clear. Marrowwind is saying, hello, good morning, Patriots. Good morning to you, Marrowwind. Good morning, Marrowwind. Debbie Doobs is saying, we own our home, but we be poor. I'm retirement. We are looking to sell our home and fund retirement. It's proving difficult because we're already in a small house and going into rented is expensive. Guys, everything's ridiculously expensive now. And look, this new tax that's come in on the mansion tax, it's going to be hailed and people will be saying, yeah, it's a great idea to tax mansions. I'm saying it's the worst idea that you could ever have. Because successive governments, what they're going to do is, because governments don't generate any money, like governments don't generate money, guys. They don't. They're the worst people to get. Like literally giving your money to the government. I was going to say something about Jimmy Savile then, but that's probably not very funny for a morning show. Giving your people in the government, basically, they're not the best people to spend your money. All right, I'm just putting it out there. I am the best person to spend my money, and I would speculate that you, or maybe you're not. I don't know. Maybe you're like, don't give me any money. Don't give me any money. I'm terrible. But you are the best person to spend your money. So when we have to give our money to the government, I mean, look, Sadiq Khan just went to where did he go? Sadiq Khan just went somewhere. And his bill was it £87,000? So I don't think that's a good use of taxpayer money. I don't think putting people up in hotels is a good use of taxpayer money. I don't think spending, hundreds and thousands of pounds on track and trace apps on your phone. I don't think that was actually millions, wasn't it? Was it like 2.7 billion on track and trace? I don't even know how that happened. So I am the best person to spend my money, guys. I am. I'm the best person to spend my money. Paspartus, I don't know that name. Paspartusu is saying good morning. All right, Paspartusu with a picture of is that a groiper? Is that a groiper? Is that what? So is that thumbnail? Is that what I would call a groiper? And PC1 is saying, as a pensioner in a small house, we'll be left with nothing for my kids. Exactly. That's the direction of travel we are all being pushed in, guys. And these taxes that are coming in less than 48 hours, you guys are going to see where they're going to end. More people will... Again, look, guys, I'm going to keep saying this, all right? I don't know what the actual taxes are going to be. Nobody does. We can only speculate. Until that's come out in... until that's been passed in government, nobody knows. But this mansion tax, guys, that will, I promise you, that will disseminate down to everybody with a house. So everybody with a house has to pay this. But you know what they're going to do? For example, PC1 is saying, as a pensioner in a small house, will be nothing left for my kids. Exactly. That's what they want. So Just imagine that this tax is passed down, all right? And, you know, you live in a smaller house or a flat or, you know, a smaller property. And that tax is put on you. You can either pay that tax every year. I mean, what the fuck are you supposed to do? Not live somewhere? Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, just not live? Just, all right, I'm going to get in a tent. Yeah, we're going to have a tent tax. What? What the fuck? You literally, what was I reading? Somebody did a comparison about being in jail. What was it like? Being a slave and working. Like we are enslaved, guys. We are enslaved. There's better ways to live. There's better ways to live. There's absolutely better ways to live. Sorry, jumping back. So if you know, PC1 saying as a pensioner in a small house will be left with nothing left. Yeah. So imagine when this tax goes from, we're only going to tax them billionaires in them rate proper big mansions. We are, yeah, we're going to rate tax them. Okay, fine. The threshold's 2 million, okay? Next time they get a budget, we're just going to bring that down to anybody who lives in an house that's 1.5 million because they're millionaires that take in all your money. Next budget, we're going to bring this threshold down again and we're going to tax anybody now who's got an house over $1 million. Next budget, anybody who's got 500, and you see where I'm going with this. You see how this will come all the way down. Literally all the way down. And this will hit like people right at the bottom. You know, maybe they've put in for right to buy on their council house and they've got their own house and they're proud. Well, guess what? All that hard work you did to buy that property, all that hard work you've put into owning that property, thinking, do you know what? At least my daughter, at least my son, when I'm gone, they've got somewhere to live. Guess what? When the government put this tax on, that tax, you're probably not going to pay it. You're probably going to say, "Oh, I'll pay it when I die." They're going to take your house. The government will take it. They will take it. Take. That's all that's going to happen, guys. That is all that's going to happen. Oh, Carolina Ritchie has just become a member on YouTube. Thank you so much, Carolina Ritchie. I really do appreciate you and all the members. Thank you so much, guys. Lisa Jane is saying GB News kids are swiping before speaking. School starters are unable to conversate before learning to swipe on devices. Yeah, you know, it's yeah. I've seen this. We didn't let the girls use tablets and all like. Yeah. Basically, I think this comes down to the struggles with living. And it's very easy. You know, it's very easy to say lazy mums and lazy dads. They don't care about their kids. It's not that simple, guys. All right. If you're a mum and dad and you're working 2 jobs because you're trying to make ends meet, because you're trying to pay the bills, because you're trying to own your house so that when you die, your kid can get taxed and can have that, give that house back to the government. If you're in that category, giving your kid like the phone to swipe on and stuff, it's like a babysitter. You know, it's like a digital babysitter. Emma Watts is saying you will have nothing and be happy. I could say we will have nothing. You know, I could say we would have nothing. I'm not sure about being happy. Maybe we are. Do you know what? I'm all for being happy. And I think everybody else is as well. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I'm going to run through this again. I am then going to close you guys down on TikTok, and I will continue this live stream just on YouTube. So, and X, of course. And if you've not done so already, guys, make sure you hit that like, follow, subscribe. You know, all those buttons really help me out. So, we literally have 48 hours left, and then everything's going to change in the United Kingdom. Literally everything. Everything will be changing. We're going to have uproar. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be wild times. But then it'll change again the next time there's a budget. So Rachel Reeves in the United Kingdom, every time she opens her mouth publicly, we get poorer. That's not me speculating. That is the didactic truth. And for you guys, it's for entertainment purposes. So every time the Chancellor, the woman who's in charge of our finances, opens her mouth in public, our GDP, our stock market goes, Choo! That's what happens. I'm not making that up. Go and check it out yourselves. So, and I know it doesn't really, people don't think that this affects them, but it absolutely does. I'll give you me as an example, and this is a real example, so nobody can get me done for fake news. If I'm doing international work and I have a US client, i.e. the person who's paying the bills, and a potential customer in Europe or wherever, normally what I would do is I would say, right, pay me in pounds, and then I will pay, then I will pay everything. So like I will quote for a job, like, I don't know, $100 or whatever, £100. And I will say to them, right, I need £100 going into my bank account, and how you get that there is totally on to you. So then my American customer will put that £100 into my bank account, and then maybe I will only spend £70 or whatever, and then I will have made like £30 for myself, or what. You guys know how business works, right? But what's happening now? I'm like, right, okay, if you give me £100 with the exchange rates and the value of the pound, I'm not going to get £30 to keep for myself. I'm probably going to get like 10 or something because the pound has been devalued. So what I'm doing now is I'm saying, right, don't give me pounds. Use my partner's account in another country, put the money into his account, and then we'll pay for it that way. So now that money that I would be bringing into the United Kingdom, like I would be bringing in £100, and then, that would be all due to whatever taxes go on that. That isn't coming into the United Kingdom anymore. And I've brought a shit ton of money into the United Kingdom. I don't do it anymore because it makes no sense. So if I'm doing this on like an absolute tiny, 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 tiny scale, what do you think these big multinational corporations are doing? Do you think when they're saying, right, I don't know, what company X, if you get paid in pounds, you will only get X purchasing power. However, if you get paid in another currency, the dollar or whatever strong the dollar, you will get Y purchasing power. And the value of Y is considerably greater than the value of X. Of course, you're going to choose the greater value. And that is devaluing the British economy. Every time. And that is real, guys, all right? So while people, they don't see these things happening, they are absolutely happening. And of course, if, I don't know, if Morrison's are buying avocados from, I don't know, South America or whatever, those avocados that Morrison's are buying, if they're buying them with pounds because they get paid in pounds, then normally they would be able to buy 1,000 avocados. Now they can only, with the same money, I think it's a better example actually. Now they can only buy 500 avocados with the same money. So one of two things happens. They stop selling avocados or they have to double the price. So then that hits you in the pocket at the supermarket. All these things are connected, guys. Literally every time Rachel Rachel Reeves opens her mouth in public, we get poorer. That's, that is the reality. Sorry, guys, I was off on a side tangent there. Let me jump up here. Right, let me see if there's been any updates on this. Oh, yes, there has. Okay, 14 minutes ago, analysis. What did I just say? Literally, so look, guys, like this, I've only just refreshed this screen. This has come out 4 minutes ago, okay? Yeah, this has come out 4 minutes ago. So what did I just say about businesses, right? Businesses they don't want to deal with pounds anymore. So this came out 4 minutes ago on The Independent. Analysis. Business is running out of patience with Labour. Before the last election, Labour was seen as the party of business. I didn't see it as that. A key change that helped it win a landslide victory last summer. Those days have gone. Do you remember when we used to have so much fun? Those days are gone. At the CBI conference in central London today, it is clear that businesses are losing patience with and faith in the Labour Party. Lasting reform takes partnership, not a closed door, the boss of the CBI told delegates, but her message was really for many. Says, look, when we talk about economics, it's very fucking simple. Very simple. You stop taxing people, all right? And you take money off internet and you encourage international business. That's how you do it. Nothing else. If the country, well, you know, how can we get rich as a country? How can businesses flourish if we've only got the same amount of money? We fucking can't. It's insane. It's like it's so ridiculously infantile that it beggars belief. The only way that a country gets rich, ladies and gentlemen, is by taking someone else's money. Like, can you imagine, right? This is how absurd it is, right? Imagine this on the most microcosm you can, right? You're standing there, right? You're standing there and you're trying to get rich, right? By taking money out of this pocket and putting it in this pocket. And then you're like, oh no, but now the money's gone out of that. I've got no money in that pocket. Right. So you're like, right, what I'll do now is I'll take the money out of this pocket. I'll get my 2 fivers and I'll put them in my back pockets. And then you're like, oh, but now my money's gone out of, all right, okay, my money. The only way you get more money is by taking someone else's money and putting that in your pockets. Tell me I'm wrong, guys. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me, literally tell me I'm wrong. That is the only way, guys. That is the only way. That's the only way we get rich. That's the only way that you guys get rich on an individual level. As a country, and I'm all about country, guys. I'm all about country. As a country, the only way we get rich is we take another country's money. We used to do this by good old wars and invasions and taking people's resources, although we're not allowed to do that. Oh, hang on a minute. Lisa Jane is saying, I'm a celebrity in chaos as stars evacuated from the camp. And filming delayed after storm and floods hit. Priv Caro is saying, people with money had the money to hire lawyers and accountants. People who work with money to find loopholes for the rich to pay less. Yes, no, guys, I agree. I absolutely agree. But that's not where we're going in the United Kingdom. This property tax that's coming in the United Kingdom, that's going to get disseminated down and down and down and down and down and down until, yes, it's now called the bedsit tax. What? Yeah, if you live in a bedsit and you own that bedsit, you now have to pay a tax on that bedsit. You're like, oh, right, okay. Is there anything I don't get taxed on? He's thinking, do I get taxed for my thoughts? Oh, I didn't even think about this. Right, let me get it right. Council tax. Yeah, look, council tax is another mortgage. Council tax is another mortgage. Yeah, do you know what? Council tax will be going up, guys. Council tax will be going up. It's an easy way for local councils to earn money, and it forces those people out. And it really is going to upset the property market, because now, why would you want, right now, guys, look, ladies and gentlemen, let's be clear. If anybody, any of my friends say, hey, Sean, what are properties like in the United Kingdom? I will say, mate, don't even think about it. It's not worth it. So, yeah, it's property. They're coming after our homes, guys. They really are. They're coming after our homes. Toxic Goyhole is saying you need to create something to sell to make money. Absolutely. Offshoring industrial production is what is killing us. Yeah, no, it absolutely did. I don't know if you guys saw the video I did, I think it was it was last weekend, actually. So the video I did last weekend, the weekend before, not this weekend gone, the weekend before that. I went to a place called Magna it's just outside Sheffield. And it used to be like a steel casting mill or something. I don't really know that much about it. But what they used to do apparently is they used to buy in scrap metal. So I don't know, forks and knives and keyword, bits of metal. Martin Quinn on TikTok is saying good morning to you as well, Martin Quinn, buddy. So they used to buy in all this steel, and then they used to put it in these big like cauldrons. Then they used to heat it up, melt it, take off the different parts of steel. I think that process is called fractional. I think it might be called fractional smelting or I can't remember. I don't know, guys. I'm certainly not an expert in this. But when I was in there, it's now like a science park. And when I was walking around, it hurt that we had this huge world-leading industry making real stuff, real strong steel, these big industrial hooks and chains and electron. It was beautiful, and I was all right. Okay, what do we do now? Like, where are we right now? But Toxic Goyhole is absolutely right. You need to make stuff to sell, and we need to sell that internationally. That's the only way we get rich. That is the only way we get rich. We need to mine shit out the ground because it's there. We need to turn that shit into other shit and sell that shit. And that's where your money comes from. Abolish all taxes. All taxes, guys. Abolish them all. Abolish all taxes. And watch people flurry to the United Kingdom. I have raved in there. It's derelict now, if I'm thinking of the same place. Right, okay. I don't know if listen, Toxic Goyhole, I don't know where you've raved. I'm sure you've raved in some fantastic places. So it's called Magna. It's like a science park now, and they have like it's a science park. It's certainly not derelict anymore. Yes, Debbie Doobs. I think it's called the Magna Center. Oh, and Debbie's husband used to work for British Steel. I think that was the same place. So Lisa Jane is saying to everybody, listen, guys, the extra flu and COVID vaccination clinics have opened. Officials are urging people to go and get your vaccination this winter. So, if you want to go and get your vaccination, if you want them, go and get your vaccination. And, you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting everyone else. Hands, face, and space, all that. Yeah. So Priv Caro is saying Norway is losing billions in tax because they are raising tax for the rich and they move out of Norway. Then we need to pay. Priv Caro, that is exactly what's happening in the United Kingdom right now. That is exactly what's happening in the UK. So the Labour government came in. They said they're going to tax the rich. The rich people said, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not going to tax us. I'm gone. I'm going to move all my assets out. I'm good. So they said, right, okay. We're not going to tax the rich. We're going to tax the extremely wealthy. And they said, nah, we're not getting taxed either. We're gone. We're going. And the threshold of the bar is coming down and down and down because every time, guys, I'm not making this up. And for you guys I need to turn you guys. In fact, guys, I'm going to turn you guys down off on TikTok in like 2 minutes. I've got work coming through on my phone as well. I'm going to close you guys down on TikTok in like 2 minutes. I will then continue this live stream on YouTube. I'll continue this live stream on X. Once I've closed this stream down, I'm going to come straight back on and do another one because the government, people are talking about nuclear Armageddon. Yet that headline has hit the mainstream media again, and I'm going to be talking about that. So just for clarity, Priv Caro is saying Norway is losing billions in tax. So for those of you guys who don't know, Priv Caro is one of our followers from Norway. And she is saying Norway's losing billions in tax because the government are raising the tax for the rich. The rich move out of Norway, then everybody needs to pay what they have not paid. So whereas rich person X may be paying 20% tax, when you put that 20% tax up to 30% tax, they say, no, I'm good. So now you don't get 30% tax, you get 0% tax off that person. And this is happening on a massive scale. And just on my micro scale, guys, I tell people I don't want pounds anymore. If I have an international client, I will tell them, pay one of my partners, put the money in one of my partners' accounts, in, whatever that currency is. So that money doesn't come into the United Kingdom now. So that money, like I always say, the only way you get rich is to take money off another country and bring it into your country. That's not happening. And I'm doing that on a micro scale. So you can imagine the billions now, big business, big industry, if there's any left in the United Kingdom, who have those big international books. They're probably saying, right, okay, if I pay with pounds, it's going to cost me more. So what's the point in having pounds? You want to go to that strong currency, and right now the strong currency is it's the dollar, guys. I don't think that's gonna change anytime soon. Lisa Jane is saying the Daily Express 2 hours ago says the royal family are taking action after worrying major change in Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Andy Windsor, good old Andy Windsor, and Sarah Ferguson. I don't know what that would be. Right, I'm going to close you guys down on TikTok now. I will continue the live stream on YouTube and X. I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube, and I'm the Real Raven 1 on X. And I'll see you guys later. Right, let's see if I can do it first time. Nope. Let's see if I can do it second time. I always prefer to do it second time. Yeah, second time done. Second time done. Right, good. Right, let's close that down. Right, I've just got some... I need to reply to this. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. I need to reply in a different language because it's going to be funny. So I need to change my thing. I think that's right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, right, let me jump down and get some. IIO says the Victorians left us with infinite wealth and we pissed it all away. We did, guys. We've absolutely pizzledy-swizzled it away. We pizzledy-swizzled it away. Pizzledy-swizzled our wealth away. Michelle Marshall is saying our steel was the best steel in the world. It was the best steel. Right, I'm going to jump down. Right. Yeah, there's been a lot of flights are cancelling over the a lot of the flights are cancelling their flight paths over Venezuela. Right, let me just update this budget, guys. There's been more on the budget. 11 minutes ago. Yeah, it's nothing good. Nothing good. They're trying to sugarcoat it, but there's nothing good. Nothing good coming, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just have a look on the mainstream. Okay, so I'm just going to give you guys no, not that one. This one. So Rachel Reeves, if you're joining for the first time, guys, we have the budget in 48 hours, or it's on Wednesday, basically 48 hours. I don't know what time on Wednesday it is. So 48 hours left, and then everything's going to change in the United Kingdom. We're looking at council tax. We're looking at a new tax on houses. So depending on the size of your house, you will get an additional tax. We're looking at alcohol. I've heard some people talk about 20% on the pound. Sorry, 20 pence on the pound, which would be 20%. Cigarettes, fuel, petrol, diesel, those things are, those things for me are an absolute given. Now, the thing with the housing tax, it's all part of this, it's all part of this. You will have nothing and you will be happy. Can you imagine right now? All right. what they're saying with this housing tax is, and it's this to me, guys, this is disgusting. If this happens, this needs to be reversed. But if they say, oh, you don't have to pay that tax until you die, guess what? Nobody's going to pay that tax. That tax is just going to build up, and then they're going to have to sell that house. So you're going to work all your life. When you're laid there, I mean, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die, guys. I ain't dying. I genuinely believe I'm not going to die. And if you're in your 40s, if you're mid-40s or below, I don't think you're going to die. I really don't. I think there's significant technology out there that can increase the human lifespan. And I think if we can get past the next 30 years, I think like human life extension's going to be real. But that's a different live stream. And I really believe that. But what I'm getting at here is like, if you're there, you're laid in your deathbed. Like I said, not me. I'm not going to be in a deathbed. You're there, you're laid in your deathbed, and you've paid off your house, and all you can think about is, do you know what? At least my son, my daughter, my kids, at least they've got somewhere to live. At least they've got those memories that we had together. At least they've got that little, those little pencil lines on the kitchen wall when they're, on their birthdays. At least they've got them. All the good times, all the bad times, all the love, all the check, everything in that house. At least I can leave that to my kids. That goes to the government. That's what's coming, guys, with this housing tax. So Rachel Reeves hopes trade deals can save Britain's budgets. Economists aren't convinced. What do I always say, ladies and gentlemen, about trade deals? What do I always say about international investment? It's all a fugazi. It's bullshit. Okay. What does the proof is in the solution? Not proof. The answer's in the question. International investment is equal to international theft, international wealth extraction. So if you're an investor, and I'm not, investors will be different, but they would want to see a return on their investment within 5 years. All right. So within 5 years, they'd want to see a return on their investment. So when you get Rachel Reeves and a little bobhead coming up there saying, I have secured 5 billion of international investment into the United Kingdom. Hoddy, hoddy, ho. Like, what does that actually mean? Well, this is what it means. Remember, most investors will want to see a return on their investment within 5 years. So let's do Raven maths, okay? Year 1, they earn $1 billion. Year 2, they earn $1 billion. Year 3, they earn $1 billion. Year 4, they earn $1 billion. Year 5, they earn $1 billion. So now their investment's paid back. Year 6, where do you think that billion goes? Where do you think that billion goes? Do you think it goes back into the local economy? Do you think it goes to local builders? Do you think it goes to Mick and Sue, who've got a sandwich shop, and their kids can go on like horse riding lessons or something? Do you think it goes to Janet and Dave, who run the local pub? No, that goes in a big pot. Big cash helicopter comes and they're laughing. It's a CH-47. It's a Chinook. It's got a 10-ton payload. They come in with a big net and they get all that money and they fly that helicopter to another country and they are laughing. Because you know what? That is what international investors do. They are there to make money. So every time, ladies and gentlemen, you hear the words international investment, don't think international investment, think international wealth extraction. And then when you want to know how much we're getting fucked over, whatever that amount is, divide it by 5, and that's how much we're going to be losing every year. The maths is very easy to work out. It's very easy to work out, very easy. Anyway, so economists aren't convinced. And I'm reading this off Politico, guys, it was released this morning. With a difficult budget looming, the Chancellor has increasingly turned her gaze overseas. You couldn't make it up, could you guys? In a luxury hotel in in a luxury Saudi hotel some 3,000 miles away from her economic woes, British Chancellor Rachel Reeves delivers a plucky pitch to some of the wealthiest people on the planet. Remember, international investment is international wealth extraction. So now she's going over to Saudi Arabia, giving our money to the Saudis. I believe that countries are successful when they are open to trading. Yes, open to trading. That is a true statement. Not open to international investment. I think that's good for productivity because competition spurs productivity. It does. And she's right. No, that sentence is right. She told business leaders at the Fortune Global Forum last month. And in a small and open economy like Britain's, we want our businesses to be able to access global markets. I agree. That is a true statement. With this in mind, the Chancellor said Britain was striking trade deals with the EU, US, and as well as fast-growing economies like India, as she tested big opportunities from the upcoming free trade agreement with the Gulf countries. Now, if you've got a trade, like a government trade, I'm always suspicious about government trade deals. I don't think they're that good because you get big businesses involved. And when big businesses get involved, it just doesn't, I can find my own, I've done plenty, I can find my own deals with international companies. Like that's how it should be. I want to do something India. I get on a plane, I go to India, I network with Indians, and I find goods, services, or a product that we can collaborate with. When these big trade deals happen, you get big businesses backers. That big business backing is international investment. And guys, you guys know how I feel about international investment. I'm just trying to get some numbers here and some figures. We're talking about, hang on, India free trade deal. Reeves will also be pinning her growth on hopes on the UK's recently completed free trade agreement with India. I'm not feeling it, guys. I'm not feeling it. Like, you shouldn't be doing this. What you should be doing is investing in smaller businesses. So for those of you guys who don't know, I was standing as a candidate for reform at the last election. And one of the things I wanted to do, rather than send all this money overseas, I wanted a fund of, what was it? I think it was I wanted 260 million as a fund. And what I would have done with that 260 million, I would have said, look, right, rather than sending all this money overseas, rather than sending $1 billion there and $1 billion there, 260 million per year. What you do, you give that, I can't remember the exact number. It was enough basically for £1 million to each constituency in the United Kingdom. So if you live in, I don't know, if you live in Doncaster, you'd get £1 million. If you lived in, I don't know, Cornwall, there'd be £1 million. And what you do with that £1 million, you say, right, that goes to college school leavers, basically. If you're about 18 years old when you leave college before you go to university, that is a fund for those people. And those people, you say, right, I've got a fund every year of £1 million. And what we're going to do with this £1 million, we are going to fund local kids who are leaving school. Remember, guys, listen, I'm all for protecting Gen Z. I'm all about Gen Z. I'm about protecting Gen Z. You then get those kids. You say, look, give me your business plan. Everybody, you come together, you make a company, you start a business plan, you send me the business plan, and then I've got £1 million and I can fund the ones that I think are going to be successful. For the first year, the local government, the local council support them. So they're their customer, they help them. And what happens is you start to grow local economies. You start to grow local businesses. If you're just dumping, 50 50 million or whatever into somewhere and you're paying them minimum wage, nothing, that money in profit leaves. Another example, guys, I'm, there's a guy, I need to go and see him actually at some point. There's a guy just down the road. He's got he's got his own business. I don't think it was last year. It might have been, it was the year. I can't remember when it was. It was one of the Christmases. It might have been last year. It might have been the year before. He was doing really well. So he gave all his staff £1,000 bonus. He said, look, do you know what? We've done fucking brilliant this year. I'm going to give you all an extra £1,000. Just there, cash, boom. Extra £1,000 bonus for everyone. Do you think that would happen if that was an international company and they were paying minimum wage or whatever they could get away with? They were paying the minimum. Do you think they would spend an extra X thousands on giving their staff a nice little pat on the back? Absolutely not. And where do you think those people, how good do you think those people felt working for that company that just looked after them? That's what happens when you empower local business. Fishy Bear Gaming is saying this is why most Europeans rent their homes and just enjoy their lives without the stress of upkeep and maintenance. I think that's where we're going, guys. That is where we're going. Sharon Owen is saying, you watch Rachel Reeves on Wednesday, she will strut out of Downing Street like she's the milk monitor at primary school. Listen, every time Rachel Reeves opens her mouth, we get poorer. And I see this, I see this because I do international, not international trade, but I do work with different countries. How to watch The Age of Disclosure? Look, guys, I think everybody's barking up the wrong tree with this alien stuff. I don't think aliens came here on little, I don't think aliens came here on little tin spaceships. I think they're interdimensional. I think they've always been here. I just think we can't see them. Danny Walker. Danny Walker is saying, I would say British company, we pay for units abroad, but we want 0% of the income back. There's no sense in starting a business now in the United Kingdom. Well, you know what? I'm not going to say that, right? There is, if you think you've got a niche, but I wouldn't recommend any niche at the moment, unless you want to supply food to migrant hotels or something. Yeah, exactly. Look, everybody knows the situations. They need to invest in smaller towns so the smaller towns get bigger, so the smaller towns can give more back to the city. Exactly. We need to encourage international trade. Helen is saying all these empty high street shops are too expensive to rent, never mind run. And the longer they lie and break down, becoming worth less, the government, gives them the right. Yeah, it is, guys. It is. We're heading towards doom, and everybody can see where we're heading. Right, listen, guys, I am going to close this down, but I will be back on shortly. I'll be back on at 12. I'm going to do another live stream at 12. It didn't fit in doing two at the same time because the topics were totally different. The government are talking in the United Kingdom about nuclear Armageddon. Yes, they are. I'll just share with this real quick. Oh, I've spelled it wrong. So yesterday there was who was it? I think it was Sky News. Yesterday on Sky News, it was Beth Rigby. Yesterday, Beth Rigby yesterday was interviewing Keir Starmer, and hang on. So yesterday, Rachel, all these names. Yesterday, Beth Rigby was interviewing Keir Starmer. Got it out in the end. that the was interviewing Keir Starmer and saying that Vladimir Putin's threatening nuclear war again, and she asked him to assure people in the United Kingdom that we would not be heading to a nuclear war. And what Keir Starmer said was, no, I'm not going to answer that question. What I'm going to answer is we need to support Ukraine. We need to stand by Ukraine. And, you know, we need to throw everything at Ukraine. So that is that's what I'm going to be talking about later on when I come on the live stream. I think I'll do that about I'll go and have a sandwich. I'll come back and then I will jump on and do that. But I'll give you guys what I think as well about that, because until we see people testing nuclear weapons, I don't see the likelihood of that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now, and I will see you guys in like 40 minutes or something. And if not, then I'll see you guys at the regular time at 8 o'clock tonight. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, make sure, if you've not done so already, like, comment, subscribe, share. And also, thank you, Carolina Ritchie, for becoming a member. I really appreciate all the members, guys. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys later.